You're breathtaking.
Girls, what was the most obvious hint you dropped? And the guy just didn't get it. I threw my panties at him and he kept explaining God of War lore. After chatting for hours on top of a mountain from sunset until like 2 a.m., sharing a blanket, me leaning my head on his shoulder, telling him he's attractive, etc., he turns to me and says, "How do you tell if the girl is into you?" We were talking about canoes and I said I'm like a canoe because I'm wet and you can go inside me, and he said canoes aren't really wet. One time a girl straight up asked if I wanted to take my pants off and I didn't get it. I was like, nah, they're actually not uncomfortable at all. I had a girl invite me round her house once just to show me her posters. They were all of Harley-Davidson motorbikes, and she said she's never ridden a Harley before. Awkward silence, and after a few other short bits of small talk I decided to be on my way. 2 years later I'm sitting on the bus and realize what she meant. Harley. Ridden a Harley. My name is Harley. I asked the guy on a festival to come take a shower with me. He didn't get it. He just repeated there was only one free shower, and I was like, well, they are big, I'm sure it's fine, and he just looked confused and told me I could go first. We became close friends since it happened about 2 years ago, and this summer I spoke to him about it and he really had no idea. He did the biggest facepalm I've ever seen. My buddy in college was stressing over when to make the move to kiss a girl he liked. While we encouraged him to not wait for the perfect moment and just go for it, he admitted he should have tried to kiss her when they were in the shower. I'm not as brutally upfront as some of these people, but mine happened yesterday. How do I know a girl is flirting with me? He asks. She touches you a lot while you two are talking. I cannot relate at all. That never happens to me. I'm sure it does. I tell him and hit his arm. I can't think of any time that's ever happened. On our first date, my current boyfriend and I went out to dinner, to a bar, and eventually back to his house to watch scary movies. After hanging out for almost 8 hours at that point, practically cuddling into him the entire time we were watching movies, dropping as many hints as I could, around 3 a.m. when we were both fighting to stay awake, I finally had to look his dumb ass in the eye and ask, "So are you going to kiss me or not?" Though he was totally oblivious, it did show his good heart. He was about to let me fall asleep on his couch and spend the night without even trying to kiss me. I knew he was a keeper after that. Literally said, "I want to be yours," and the dude just keeps smiling and goes on about random space facts. That one hurt a bit. Invited him over to watch a movie, eventually laying my legs across his lap and hard flirting, but after 4 movies I had to finally make the move. We were discussing costumes and I sent a picture of me in my bunny suit and said I'd need help out of it. His response was telling me he hoped my roommate was home or that would suck. I had to tell him I was implying I'd like him to take it off me, and it took him a minute to catch up. Guy here, but once had a girl drag me into the bathroom while at a college party saying she needed help finding her marker/pen. We didn't find it and I figured out what was really going on a year later. I am a guy, but I can share my density as the guy that missed the hints. I went to a store where there was a girl I liked in college. We used a small talk while I browsed and never bought anything. Being a poor college student, this time I came in the store and she said and we chatted a bit while I shopped. She complained, "I'm going to be home alone tonight. My family is out of town." I replied, "Oh, that's too bad." She says, "I'm off at 5 today. It was 4 at the time. What are you up tonight?" "I'm up for anything." "Oh, nothing. Just sitting at home and watching a movie." My brain must have completely self-destructed, because the conversation ended there. I never saw her again after that. She either quit, or was avoiding me. I must have been in a daze from school to miss that cue. I'm a guy, but one time I was hanging with a longtime friend of mine who I used to have a crush on and who knew that I had a crush on her and had rejected me numerous times over 7-8 years in her dorm. We decided that we were both tired, but her other bed was occupied by her other friend, so I was gonna lay down on the floor. She was like, "There's room in my bed for you anytime." So I hop in bed with her thinking nothing of it. The next few minutes were kind of a blur, but eventually we were literally hugging with her leg wrapped around me and she looked me in the eyes, bit her lip and said that she was horny. I never made a move beyond that, since she had spent the past almost decade of my life rejecting my advances. I used to be oblivious, probably still am. There was a girl at a local grocery store who was flirting with me, but of course, I didn't get it. After quite a bit of this, I leave town for a few months and we're corresponding via email. I can't remember why, but I was asking her a string of silly questions, like, why is the sky blue? Chicken or the egg first? Where do babies come from? Etc. She answered them all, saving where do babies come from for last, and answered it with, "When you get back I'm going to show you." I got that one. For Valentine's a couple of years ago, I mailed my husband a package. The note said, and I quote, "I want you now." I was ready to spring into some extra fun sexy time whenever he opened the package. I had to sit him down and explain a couple of hours later. He was like, ah. We were playing Don't Drink and Drive on Mario Kart, just the two of us. I was trashing him, so I gave him a chance by lying sideways across his lap for the entire race. He didn't take the hint. We started dating 2 weeks after that. Complained I was a bit cold, so he gave me a blanket. I then told him there's space for two under the blanket, in an obvious flirting tone. He answered with no thanks. I'm not cold. I still tease him with it once in a while. We're married now. I went out of my way to come in early and talk to this guy every day for like a month before someone else told him I was into him. I also repeatedly told him I liked him. He thought I was just being nice. He invited me to his house to watch a movie after a few dates. He ended up playing League of Legends for hours while I was laying in his bed and asked him many times if he would like to join. Sorry, just one more match. We dated for 2 years. A girl came to my house once and spent the night. Around the time for bed, she told me she doesn't sleep with a top on her panties. I told her that's okay, I'll sleep on the couch so she can be comfy. She called me from downstairs later that night and told me she couldn't sleep and she was cold. I figured, well, obviously, you're naked. So I gave her another blanket and went back downstairs. Edit. Obligatory thank you for the silver, and I'm glad everyone is laughing at my pain. I've tried responding the best I can, but some of you guys are getting weirdly mean and it kills the mood. Not a girl, but I was staying a night at a hotel, and the hotel bar had just closed. I went out front for a smoke and start chatting with 2 women. We shoot the shit for a few minutes and then I'll head back into the hotel and to the elevator. We get in. They press 15. I press 9, and one of them turns to me and says, I don't suppose there's a secret bar on the 9th floor we can go to. My dumbass respose. No, but you can grab a cab and be at a bar in 10 minutes. Then the doors open and I leave. My fiancée thinks leaving my bedroom door open when she spent the night, when we were just friends, and she lived out of town, and there was absolutely no reason for me to think anything romantic was going on, was obvious. I got up and closed the door because the AC was on and was low-key miffed. Edit. We were friends for a long time before we got together, and she had a meeting early in the morning, so I gave her my bed and slept on the couch. She left the door open thinking I would take the hint. A guy I'm currently seeing invited me camping earlier this month. We were cuddling and I noted how nice the showers are in the bathroom at the provincial park. I said they're really warm and lots of space for 2 people, trying to hint for him to join me for sexy time. This man, without missing a beat, says, actually, you could fit like 10 people in those showers. We laughed about it really hard the next weekend and he said I knew what you were getting at, but my brain just wanted to answer it logically. I'm sure if Emily, from 15 years ago, saw this thread, she'd say, invited this guy to my place after our date, got him into my room, into my bed. He was just lying there, so I told him my back was feeling sore and asked him if he could give me a massage. His reply, oh, I don't want to crush you with my weight. He was about 170 lbs, gave up and went to sleep. Truth is, I did get the hint, but at the time I was a virgin, and I was convinced I had an STD. Yeah, good combo. Turns out I didn't have an STD. Friend was complaining he was hot because of his long sleeve shirt. I said, oh, I'm sure you'd be just as hot without the shirt. He was so unaware, but I finally just kissed him. We matched on Bumble, dating app that the girl has to talk first, and I started a convo with him. He thought I just matched him because we were friends. Oh no, it's a dating app. We didn't start dating until almost a year after that. We are married now. Guy here, and been told this by colleagues. Had a date with a girl I kissed at a festival. I got her number after that first kiss and asked if she'd be down to meet in less drunk circumstances. She was. We met. We talked and I walked her home. She asked me if she could hug me and if I wanted to sleep over. I told her I had a 40-minute drive back home. Now I saw this as an act of politeness. My female coworkers claimed it was definitely more. I still don't know though. I once was modeling clothes I planned to take on vacation for my boyfriend. After showing off a couple of outfits, I told him to close his eyes and changed into lingerie. He opened his eyes and I asked him what he thought. His jaw dropped and he said, "You can't wear that outside." I put my clothes back on. "It's snowing. Just stay here. You can sleep in my bed." When I was like 15, 16, this girl from school I had a huge crush on kept inviting me to her house when she was alone, wearing the smallest tops and asking for back massages. I never got the hint. Years later, when I started going out with my now fiancé, that girl's sister tells my girlfriend, "Hey, my sister had such a crush on him back in school. I was not a bright teenager." Guy here. A girl took my hat off, started running her fingers through my hair and asked what did I do to get it so smooth. I proceeded to tell her all about the new shampoo I had switched to a month before until she cut me off. I had a girl go out with me after work once for dinner, have some drinks, go back to my house, get too drunk to drive home, so I put her to bed in the spare room and never even attempted to kiss her. She left in the morning early and hated me after that. It was after work, so she followed me back to my house in her own car. That was the obvious hint I missed, is what I assume now. As a guy, to any girls reading this, you have no idea how easy it is to miss hints. Please be more obvious. We are also really bad at being scared of taking signals wrong. Edit. Post-award edits are so last year. So suffice it to say, waking up to 37 new messages gave me a small "would have I posted a heart attack this morning. You are all very kind." Straight up told him I like him. I think his response was something like, "but I'm kinda trash," or something self-deprecating. He's friends with my best friend, and she confirmed that his depression is so bad that it takes a lot before he actually accepts any sort of positive attention. I think to some degree it's mutual. Hard to tell, as I, too, am oblivious when guys drop hints. Asking him to take picture with me, hugged him a couple of times, told him he has nice hair, started smelling him and told him he smells nice. I even looked in his eyes for like 2 minutes. Turned out he was Gail Mayo. I'm a guy, but I have a story. A couple of years ago, a cute girl at the cash register in a local supermarket, where I was a regular customer at every night, said to me in a clearly flirty way, with a big smile, "Oh, I though you're not coming today. I'm so happy to see you." Her face was shining when she said this, but the dumbass I didn't realize this, and my response was, "But why?" As I said this, her face went red and I could hear the glass shatter sound echoing in her. I have other stories too, because usually I get the hints 5 years after they happened. Usually guys don't simply miss the hint. They are often too nervous and either let it slip by their subconscious, or notice it and don't know what to do with it, so let it go. You really have to be direct if you want a response. Edit. Usually, but not always. Yes, many hints certainly do go unnoticed. There is fear on both sides. Fear of coming on too strong and being rejected, and being too vague as a result, and then fear of misinterpreting hints and ignoring them as a result. If only we ignored our fear 10% more, how many millions of good times around the world would occur as a result? This guy I was dating decided to read to me a letter his father wrote to him that had advice on dating. My date was an excellent gentleman with a whole lot of things going for him. Unfortunately, hygiene wasn't one of them. Anyway, he came to a part of the letter where his father had listed different reasons why it is so important to have good hygiene. I piped up then with "Oh yes, I love that piece of advice. Your dad is really smart." He never took the hint. When I later broke up with him, I never told him, but hygiene was one of the reasons. I really hope he's doing okay out there and either figured it out or found someone with a stronger stomach. Please subscribe if you liked the video. It really helps the channel to grow. See you again.